Hello, Stampin' Buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, coming to you with round 2 of the April 2025 Inked Occasions Paper Pumpkin Kit. My granddaughter and I, Rylie, did a video earlier. She wanted to do a video, but I think she took more time taking breaks than she did making cards with me. But when she came back, she was probably faster getting her cards done than I was anyway. So this is take 2 because I'm going to try to come up with a few alternatives I've been working on to give some different ideas to this paper pumpkin kit. Now, there's a lot of demonstrators out there from Stampin' Up! That can maximize and get just a ton of cards out of these kits. I don't usually do that only because I don't want to just get the kit to make a bunch of cards. I want them to be cards that kind of speak to me, and I'm more interested in sending them out to somebody who will appreciate them than getting the most I can out of the kit. So we're going to end up getting more cards out of this kit anyway, but not like, 30 some cards. Quickie couple of commercials. If you are catching me live, it is just after 12:30 in the morning on Saturday, April 26th. So I've been working on this since Friday evening with Rylie. But Stampin' Up! Has free shipping until midnight Mountain Time in the United States. So I think that means you've got like 23 or 24 more minutes. So free shipping, they gave us 3 days of free shipping, which is not something they normally do. Normally we get 1 day, and this time we got 3. Today is the end. So take advantage of that. Free shipping is if you have a $75 or more product order, so that would be before tax. Anybody who does that, I will send these, excuse me, I will send these color coach cards. This is what I use on the back of my stamp pads to give me some inspiration if I'm having some creativity blocks. All right, so Stampin' Up! Provides these. They don't charge demonstrators anything for these, so if you are a demonstrator or you already have a demonstrator, ask your demonstrator for these. But my customers, or anybody who wants to be my customer through lorimacari.stampinup.net, if you place that $75 order by midnight Mountain Time, it's going on 1 a.m. Central Time, but midnight Mountain Time, I will go ahead and send you these. I put them on full adhesive sheets, and you would just have to trim them down and then peel off that backing, which can be challenging. I'll give you that. And then put those on your stamp pads. So the other thing, Stampin' Up! Has a new rewards program. If you place a $20 minimum product order, again, that's before shipping and tax, you will earn 10% on your purchases to use toward future purchases. So you can earn them and burn them on your very next order, or you can save them up. Points are good for 12 months from the time that you earn them. Okay, so if by the end of the month you either create a customer account with me, if you don't have a demonstrator already, or if you go into your account, update it, and opt in to the rewards, which is something with whatever financial rules, laws there is for Stampin' Up, you have to opt into the program. But if you opt into your rewards program, let me know, and I will enter you for a chance to win a free kit from me. Okay? So, without further ado, let's work a little bit more on this paper pumpkin kit. So I am using elements from this kit. I am also using these add-on dies. So paper pumpkin subscribers, now I get mine monthly, every month. One time I suspended for a month and I really regretted it because I couldn't get that kit, and it was something that I decided I really would have liked. But anyway, there's a lot you can do with your paper pumpkin kits. Stampin' Up! Has these add-on dies that they will do once a quarter. So this is for April, May, and June. All right. So April, we're using the hugs. I can only imagine May and June will use certain elements of those. I don't remember what those kits are going to contain. So just know that these add-on dies, and they're usually around $12, I think. These add-on dies will work for projects for as long as you want, but they will coordinate with the upcoming kits. If you need help with your kit, there is always a QR code on the instruction sheet, and Stampin' Up! Does some videos to help walk you through what needs to happen. And this code on here is for that add-on kit. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set that aside. So these are the cards that we did from the kit. All right, so I'm just going to, because I got a lot of color going on here. So this is the first one. Okay, well, this is one of them. I don't know if it was the first one. And then we had this one. And you can see there's the gold metallic in here. Just beautiful cards. And they're fronts and backs. So to me, it's almost like you're wasting the back of the card because that's so pretty. This one is the same thing. The front has this gold framing on it where the back doesn't. But still, it's a shame not to have things on the back. All right, and then the third card was just a very basic hugs to you. And again, the design spans the whole width of the card there. So those were the three cards made pretty close to what the kit calls for. Now, what I have done is taken some of those elements and added my own designer series paper, or I'm sorry, cardstock, and then I'm going to make some alternatives. Okay, so I'm going to try not to disturb those. These are Rylie's cards. So if you catch the earlier video, you can see her putting hers together. So she's 7. She does pretty good when she has focus. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside because those are not fully put together yet. So what I've done is I'll take cardstock and then I'll take some of these extra pieces, and like these were part of a card. I cut them in half. I cut them down to the size of a card front, which would be 4 by 5 1/4. And then I will use these for layers on a card. This one I didn't cut down yet because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this. All right, so I'm going to hang on to these because there's more to be made with those. Okay. And then there's another, these elements were die cut elements that came with it were just gorgeous. So I'm looking again at some of these templates, and one of my cards, we're going to kind of do this template here. Okay. And I think I've checked off everything that I was working on the last couple of days as far as these sketches or templates. But I'm going to do one of these tonight. So stay tuned for that one. This one is just kind of a basic. I'm going to put those stamps out of the way. So what I've done here is I have taken one of the elements, and this one kind of broke when Rylie was taking it out of the die cut piece, but it's going to be fine. So I took some Pool Party cardstock because that's one of the colors in this kit. And the back of the kit tells you what coordinating colors there are. So Berry Burst, Flirty Flamingo, Fresh Freesia, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Peach Pie, Pool Party, and Gold. I focused on just a couple of the colors, all right? So with these dies, the add-on dies, I went ahead and I cut out hugs, okay? And the Peach Pie is one of the colors, so that's why I did it in Peach Pie. And then I took my Pool Party ink pad and I did some blending with my blending brush to kind of create some little sky effect. So hopefully you can see where I've kind of shaded that so it just doesn't look like blank cardstock. Okay. And then this piece was all die cut, so it comes that way in the kit, which is really cool. And all you had to do was kind of separate it from the backing piece. but I put a few dimensionals on here. If I can get those off. So those will just get held to the card ever so gently. And it looks like I can put one more here. So let's go ahead and do that. I should have pulled out my Take Your Pick tool because that usually works pretty good for me. I'll get rid of my debris. And then, oops, we're going to take this, carefully place it at the base of our card so it's lined up flush to the bottom. Now with the liquid glue, it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to straighten things out. And then I'm going to just push those dimensionals in place. And I thought these flowers just framed that cutout hugs pretty well there. Now I do see this is hanging over a little bit, so I'm just going to do a little snipping and it'll be just fine. Okay. And then there are stamps in this. Let me get this out of here. So you get everything that you need for the kit to make the cards as shown comes in the kit. So you get this stamp set, and I've got a bunch of, whoops, I've got a bunch of the sentiments off of here already because we used them earlier. But these are all of the sentiments that you get. So there's a really nice variety. Thinking of you, congratulations, hugs, and then even a retirement, happy couple statement on there. All right. So that comes with every kit. You also get an ink spot. So if there is stamping in the kit, you get an ink spot. If you're a brand new subscriber, you get a block. It's a paper pumpkin block. And it is the size of a D block, but it's not as thick as a D block. So hopefully you can see, you know, it's quite a bit thinner. But with your first kit, when you subscribe or purchase a prepaid subscription, you get this block with it, so you can basically use everything right away. Everything you would need would be in the kit. All right. So anyway, what I was getting to was there were these butterfly stamps in the kit, but I'm thinking, I know I have some brushed brass butterflies. These are still available. They are still an active item. I looked them up. So I'm going to put some of these on here because I think that works. So I'm actually going to put 5 of them on there. I'm going to put 3 big ones and then 2 smaller ones. All right. So brushed brass butterflies. And there's this card. I don't think it really needs a whole lot else. I'll put a layer on the inside, of course. But that's just one of my alternatives. Pretty simple. But I think it's very pretty with all of the colors on there. So this is Pool Party for my card base. This is the Peach Pie. And then this is the element from the kit that made this card. Okay. So let me pull that out. So this is, whoop, that's Riley's. Here's the card from the kit, and here's my alternative using this element. Okay, so we'll set that one aside. The next one I want to do, I'm going to save this one for last. The next one I want to do is a very, very simple card, and I took that one layer. So this card here that had the gold framing on one side and then the back side just continued the design. I cut that in half, cut them down to card front sizes. I used my perennial postage dies, the biggest one, to cut out this layer here. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the frame from it. Well, the frame. I'll save the frame from it and use that maybe on another card. Okay, so all I did then was put this up on dimensionals. I didn't do anything to the paper. This hugs element with the gold foil on there was already die cut, laser cut, and I added 3 of those brush butterflies. And that's that card. All right, Pool Party base, because it's Pool Party and the Berry Burst. So that card's done. Now I could probably take maybe some, I don't know, some Wink of Stella maybe and flick some splatter on there. So I might do that. And then this card was the other half of that card front. I'm just going to attach this here as a base. So I cut it down probably less than, it is right about 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so I just look to cut it around the edge of that foil frame. And I'm just going to use some of this Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. We'll get this centered on here. I'll shift it up a little bit. I need to shift it over just a little bit. There we go. There we go. All right, and then this was one of the elements from the kit, and this was also an element from the kit. To go with these sentiments, so there's one that says congratulations, and that one goes here. And then there's this one that says thinking of you, and that fits on this one. All right, so they gave us the laser cut fussy cut piece actually, so I'm going to hang on to these. But what I did for this one is I took just that white piece and I took my Berry Burst and just did some blending brush to get this faded color basically. So I've got some of the Berry Burst at the top, but then at the bottom it gets kind of white. So I'm going to hang on to this other piece. That's how I did that. And then I used my Versamark with the thinking of you. All right, so I just did the Versamark, and then I did embossing with our gold metallic embossing powder. All right, so that's what I did there, and you should be able to see that. I have embossed with the embossing powder numerous times, but if you don't know how that works or you want to see the magic of it, shoot me a message or leave a comment, and I can do an episode on the embossing technique. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just put some Stampin' Seal on the back of this so that I can affix this piece in a certain way. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of here to just pop it up a little bit. Okay, and I am going to use my take your pick tool now to get these backings off. There we go. I think I got them all. Yep. And then we will go ahead and put this on here. I think that looks pretty good. And we'll find my brush butterflies again. Now these butterflies are super flat. So you can rest assured that they're going to go through the postage meters probably pretty easily. There. I like to do an odd number I usually do 3, sometimes I do 5, just depending on how I feel. So there's this one. All right. Again, pool party base, so it's 8.5 by 5.5. Scored it 4.25. All right. So another alternative card. Pretty quick and easy. And then this one, I did some of these things ahead of time. Now, again, I used that add-on die, and I actually used the flower, and I did 2 of the flowers in Berry Burst. I did 2 of these foliage pieces, and then I just glued them together to save time. And then with the hugs, you know, so there's the hugs. I took 2 of them and just glued them together to give it a little bit more stability. And I'm just going to put these something like that. So let's just get some glue on here. So if I do that, I can do just a little bit at the edge of the flower here. And that should hold. Oh, and I should back up and let you know that what this idea came from, of course, we were talking about it earlier, is this sketch. So I am using this sketch as inspiration, but I'm not really following this design. And you'll see here, what I've done is I've used the strips, but they spoke to me a little differently than what was in the picture or on the sketch, because this paper has a lot going on. And I just thought with, you know, 2, 4, 6, 8, like 10 strips of paper, that was just too busy for me. All right. So I decided to kind of do my own thing, which if you've ever crafted with me, you kind of know that's how I roll. I just kind of do my own thing sometimes. Or I'll just look at the picture and figure, okay, well, I think that's this, this, and this, and I get it close enough. So this one we'll just put here. And I do have a little bit of glue overrun here. So if you ever have that, you can let it dry, or you can use an embossing buddy from our embossing kit, and you can just kind of take up the stickiness from that. But then you can also use like a little rubber eraser to get some of that extra stuff off. All right. So that's how that works for me. And then this we're just going to put here. So we'll put a little bit of glue on this as well. We just won't put it at the bottom of the G. And just a little bit of this liquid glue goes a long way, so I don't need to really saturate my item. I just need to have enough. So just a really light coat. Okay. A little bit goes a long way. And when Rylie stamps with me, she will say something like ... not a lot. All right. So that piece is ready for the front of our card. Now this is going to kind of be my challenge here, is getting this down where I want it to be. Okay. So what I did is I just took the strips. I cut one of those card bases into 1/2-inch strips, and then I started weaving them. So, you know, over, under, over, under, so that the alternate ones are opposite. All right. So what I think I'm going to do is just going to move this up a little bit, and I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put some of the liquid glue here. And again, I'm just doing a light coat there. And we're going to flip this over. And then we're just going to carefully move this down. And what I want to do is just have a nice edge here, so I can see that peach pie. And then I want to keep these about the same little distance, like it's probably like a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so those I want to try to keep straight on here and make sure that I've got them set before that glue is entirely set. All right. And it looks like these are just a little bit shorter than my card base, so I'm just shimmying them down a little bit because that liquid glue lets me do that just a little bit. When it's not quite set, you can manipulate it. All right, so now I'm just one by one going to glue these down here. Without bending them. I don't want to fold them. I guess I can bend them, just not crease them. So I have 3 going vertically up and down, and I decided to put 4 going horizontally but at a diagonal because I thought it looked kind of cool. And you might not agree, and that's fine, but I just thought it looked kind of cool. And then when I put this on here, it takes the place of some of that white space. And I guess some of this is still going to show because this is going to have to go over here. I could probably put one more strip in here. So we'll go over, under, because I had set that one aside because I didn't think I was going to use it. But now I think maybe I will. Because I don't want these leaves obviously to be over the edge of my card. And I didn't want lots of white space in here. That's why I put this on here. And I probably should have moved this over a little bit more so I didn't have all that white space. But it is what it is and it'll be fine. So let's go ahead and glue this one down. And glue this other end. And then these I'm just going to pull a little further down because I want to be able to see them on the other side of my little sentiment piece. But I don't want to have them all exactly in a row, all right? So I have them kind of in and out, and that kind of follows the sketch. So they're kind of, you know, offset where they're not just all flush on both sides, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these pieces. And I really just have to do the ends. I don't have to go real far into the layer. Okay. Shift this one all the way up a little bit so that the distance is more uniform. And then these, I'm going to go ahead and take my snips and just trim these off. And I do it from the back just because it's easier for me to see, and I'm left-handed, so it's easy for me to cut on this side as well. Relatively easy. Okay. So these, you know, somebody could probably save them and make something with them, but they're going in my recycle bin because Lord knows I've got a ton of papers. So here I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and then a little bit of the liquid glue here. And I'm not going to worry about those under layers because they're tucked in pretty well. And then We'll go ahead and put this on. I may have to glue a little bit closer to the edge because I don't like how that's popping up. So I'm going to put just a little bit of glue here on the cardstock. And then I'm just going to press that down. And I turn it over so that if there's any extra glue, it's going to go on my glass mat instead of on my fingers. That'll be better. It just needs to set. Okay. And then this I'm going to put up on dimensionals. And I'm using, there's dimensionals that come in the kit. They were mini dimensionals, but I'm trying to use up some of my edge pieces. So we'll do this, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut those so that I can put it on a couple of the leaves just to hold them as well. All right. So if you press those down really good, it's usually a little bit easier to get these backing pieces off without them peeling up off of your cardstock or designer series paper. All right. So we'll go ahead and put this in far enough so that that leaf is not hanging over the edge of the card. And then I don't know if I want to use the butterflies on this one or not. Might be kind of cute. No, that looks kind of hokey to me. We'll put them back here where they show, I guess. There we go. All right. So those are a few alternatives to this paper pumpkin kit. So this one again, this was my inspiration, was this sketch that's on page 22 of the current catalog. I took some creative license, so you can tell that mine does not look like this, but this is what inspired me. All right. So sketches can be really good for helping with inspiration. All right. So these are some of my alternative cards. These were the ones that my granddaughter did earlier. And I thought I had a fourth one. It'll turn up eventually, I suppose. Yes, here it is. So here's the fourth one. These are the cards from the kit. So we've got the hugs, the congratulations, you are amazing, and the thinking of you. So far, we have 3 cards from Rylie, the 3 original cards from me, 4 more alternative cards. I might have to put a little glue on that to affix that down. 4 alternative cards from me, and then I still have enough card bases to do 3 more cards. So 4 and 6, so that's 10, 11, 12, 13. So instead of just 9 that the kit was designed for, I'll get 13 out of mine. Unless I cut some of these down and put them on multiple cards. But that's what I have for you tonight. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little bit of your time to join me. And I think that's all I have for tonight. All right, so free shipping should be officially done now, but the new rewards program is in place. So that started on April 15th. We've got a new catalog coming out on May 6th. And I've got a lot to work with. A lot of new things, a lot of fun things to look at. So you have a good weekend, And until next time, happy stamping.